Yeah.
How did you and Josh meet? That's the big question.
Okay, so Josh and I met in cooking class.
Like home ec?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it was what was it called? Like Intro to Nutrition or Intro to Foods or something like that. And we met there. And it was like it was the first day of school because he said something about like, "Oh yeah, you're a
In
senior,
high
aren't you?"
school, though?
Yeah, it was senior year. We started hanging out senior
They had
year.
home ec there? I don't think I ever cooked in high school. It
Oh
was always
yeah.
junior high.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
you had home ec or tech class, or what was the one with
Yeah, technology with Mr. Howard.
was it no, that was the 7th grade.
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah,
Howard
that's
was
Mr. Howard.
7th grade.
Yeah, I don't
But
know who
the
8th grade
8th
was.
grade, it was the football coach, the 8th grade football
Oh,
coach. It
okay,
was,
gotcha.
what was his name?
I don't because I didn't go to middle school at Hutch. I went through
Okay.
Nickerson and I transferred freshman year.
But Howard was in 7th grade
Yeah,
because
he still is.
him and Ward were there.
Okay, yeah, and
And
he
he was
still
the
is.
woodshop guy.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I think Ward is still at high school, isn't he?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I
Yeah.
didn't get to take wood class when I was in high school. I chose
Oh,
not to. I did computer, and I wish I would have paid more attention. That way,
gotcha.
this would have been easier.
Yeah, sure.
So I learned the hard way.
Yeah,
But no, you were in home ec in high school. Who was the
yeah.
teacher in that again?
So there was Carrie Omach, and then there was like Denise Du Bois who did
What hall
like
was that in?
A hall.
So
So
right when you walk in.
right when you walk in, so you
To the
turn
left.
left. There was like Mr. Henry. There might have been another room in the Mr. Henry's room, and then Mr. Anderson's room, Lisa Bond's room, and
Yeah, I
then
had
Omach.
Bonds.
There was
Oh,
Du
wow.
Bois, and then Mrs. Omach.
See, upstairs, they also had
Yeah.
a home ec where they made the cookies for the special ed class.
Yeah, so
And I
that's
was their para for a while. Well, their
yeah.
teacher's aide for a while.
Yeah,
It
yeah, yeah.
was Comer.
Yes.
I don't know who the other one was.
That was called oh my god, the bird feeder.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So they sold like monster cookies and
Mhm.
stuff like that out there. So that's the only
Yeah.
home ec class that I thought. I was like, wait, why were
Gotcha.
you and Josh in that?
Yeah, no, we were downstairs and at the other end of the hall. And so we met
Were
in
you partners or something? Like cooking partners?
eventually, yeah. But we met the first day and I totally dismissed him. I like blew him off.
I think everybody does.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause
Josh, though.
it's true. Yeah. Cause I walked in and he was like, "Hey, you're a senior." Cause gosh, who was he sitting by? I don't know. Maybe Josh can answer that question, but
Have you seen any of these episodes? Have you listened to Josh's episode? He
I
was
have not.
episode 1.
Yeah,
Episode 2 was
I
Jordan.
listened to episode 1. Yeah.
So, yeah, he might be able to. We'll have to get him on here again.
Yeah.
By ourselves instead of all of us because that's hard to schedule.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
but home ec in high school, I don't
Uh-huh.
know when we met. I think you were a senior when you guys met?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah,
I thought
for
it was
real.
way before that.
No, it was senior year. I had seen him. He was also in an athletic training class that we took together.
Like taping and
Taping and stuff. That
Oh,
was
Jordan was in that class with you and
yes.
Christine, maybe. Jordan's
Yes.
wife.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was
Christine sat with me.
yeah, that was Jordan and Josh's sophomore year.
Yes. So I technically met him there, but I hated him there because he was so obnoxious. Cocky and
did you hear that, Joshua?
Yes. And he made the Chewbacca noise that impersonation. Yeah. Is that what it is? I don't watch those movies, so I have no idea.
I don't know Star Wars, but I know that Chewbacca was a Wookiee, and that's all I knew.
Yeah. So he would do those noises constantly. And I'm just like, dude, shut up. Like, I'm going to end you. And then I remember we were partnered in the taping portion of class. And so he made fun of my feet and called me Littlefoot because I wear a size 5. Like, I have a very small foot. And
it's average, probably, isn't it?
Average women's like 8 or 9. Like, I wear children's shoes.
So does my wife. Well,
Yeah.
she buys the boys' tennis shoes because they're cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, she could wear an adult, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Same.
So.
Yeah. So he would make fun of my feet when he was wrapping them. He's like, "You have the smallest dang foot." I'm not a big human, dude.
I honestly can't remember when we met then, if that was the case. Because did your dad already know about Josh's, like, sport, all of our sports, really? Because your dad was the one that really was more intrigued with us than you were, I think.
Yeah, because he just loves football. And I did too. But yeah, he always just loves, like, the behind the scenes of
Actually, I do remember you were friends with Robert Evans first before Josh, I think, right?
Yeah,
Wasn't his dad and your dad, like, friends?
Yeah. Yeah, they worked together at Kraus Plow. And so I'd known Robert a really long time. I'd never gone to school with him until freshman year. And so, yeah, I was friends with Robert.
Yeah, and I went to Guyman my freshman year. I wouldn't even know.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I left in 8th grade, went to Guyman because I swam on the swim team from 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, and so on. And then I moved back.
Okay.
And then that's when I came back to Hutch High.
Gotcha. And where's Guyman at?
Panhandle of Oklahoma. It's
Oh,
literally
that's
like an
right.
hour from
Okay.
Liberal or so.
Okay. Yeah.
Swim for the Western Kansas Swim Club. Where did you swim out of again? I remember
A
you were a
hutch.
swimmer. That's
Uh-huh.
the only thing that I think we had in common, and that's
Yeah.
how Josh introduced us. He's like, "My other friend that's a swimmer."
Mhm.
Did you swim for Hutch High, though?
I did. Yeah.
You did? Okay,
Yeah, and
good
I
on
swam for the YMCA club for 10 years prior to that. It's like I guess my
you. You got
total
about 10
swimming
years
career
more
was
than me.
10 years.
You got more than 10 years than me. I guess I'm 6 years.
Nice. What was your events?
Uh, I can say the ones I hated. Back
Butterfly?
backstroke and butterfly. I was
Yes.
oddly good at backstroke, but I didn't like it. It wasn't fun.
Oh.
And I hated learning the turns and stuff like
Mhm.
that. Hated that part of it. Butterfly, it's more meant for tall people, and I'm obviously not very tall.
Yeah.
But I loved freestyle, long distance freestyle, and then 200 to 100 to 200 breaststroke.
Mm,
That was my,
okay.
I guess, bread and butter. I
Okay.
was good at breaststroke.
Nice. I really liked breaststroke too until I injured my hip. And then after that, I did not have the power in that kick to be able to do
You
it
know?
as fast as I once was.
What got you into swimming though?
Okay, so when I was young, my parents had me in dance and swim lessons because they've always thought like every kid should have swimming lessons just for survival, right? You fall in a
Right.
pool, you need to be able to get to the side. And so I was doing dance mainly and doing swimming lessons, and some of the coaches were noticing like how quickly I was picking up the strokes and how fast I was able to go. And they had kind of said, "Hey, have you thought about putting her on the novice swim team?" So that was like for 7 and 8 year olds. And so I tried that out for a little bit and I kind of liked it. And I really kind of hated how like serious it was.
Oh,
And because come on, when you're 7 and 8, like you don't fully understand yards and stuff like that. Cause they would be like, swim a 100 yard freestyle. And I'm like, what's 100 yards? Like,
we always went by meters.
oh yeah. You probably had outdoor pools, didn't you? Or were your indoor pools
We
meters?
did do indoor pool for like the state
Mm,
competition, and then also for championships and tournaments and stuff. Or
okay.
like not just the meets. The meets were open to like 25-meter pools for outdoor, like liberal and stuff like that. The
Huh.
Guyman was the only outdoor pool that was 50 meters. So it's just
Mm,
one lap, and that
yeah.
lowered your time down because you didn't get that extra push.
Right.
But it was definitely a bit the best. I think that's why we were so good, is because
Mhm.
we had the 50-meter pool to practice in.
Yeah, that
We
makes
didn't get
sense.
the extra push, and then when
Hmm.
we were in the 25-meter pools, we were dominating. We went undefeated for like 13 years.
Holy crap.
We didn't lose a meet, and we didn't lose a championship.
That's amazing.
So
Yeah. Well, and then
I guess
especially
that's
with
yeah.
50 meters, like you get up on top of your wave and you're able to like maintain that for a longer distance. Cause it seems
I
like,
didn't learn that though until later. Though
yeah.
I just was swimming. That was
Yeah.
there's two things I ever wanted to quit in life. One, how I got into swimming was is that I was in Oklahoma because I was in trouble, and
Mm,
my mother sent me down there to live with my grandmother because I was in trouble for the summer. So when I got
mm,
down there, she said that I had to go pull weeds. And then I met some kids in the neighborhood and we were hanging out and they were all on swim team. That's how I really got introduced with swim team.
okay.
And I didn't want to pull weeds. So I said, well, I'd rather go swim. And
Yeah.
then after I started swimming, I really wanted to quit swimming and my grandmother wouldn't let me. So that's the only two things I ever wanted to quit in life was pulling weeds and swimming. So,
There you go.
but I got really oddly good at it.
Yeah.
And then I learned really the basics after I got Olympic swimmer came and he trained us for like
Mhm.
$300 or something like that. And that's really how I started learning like the whole like the block, the jump off the block, and then
Mhm.
not taking in so many breaths. And then that's really when I started getting good. So
Nice. I really feel like everybody's capable of learning how to swim like that. They just need to work on the technique. Really.
yeah, and they had weird techniques. So like for
Yeah.
breaststroke, they had us wear like a neck brace.
Oh, yeah.
So
To
like
get that
just to keep
posture.
your
Mhm.
chin to your chest the whole time.
Mhm.
And then freestyle, it was simply not taking as many breaths,
Yeah.
learning when to take your breaths. And then the flip, I don't think that had much to do with everybody's because if you're tall, I think you could probably touch the wall and then go.
Mhm.
But if you were short, I think it's good for short people for the flip
Mhm.
for sure.
Mhm.
But other than that, like swimming, I couldn't tell you anybody but Ryan Phelps.
Oh.
I wouldn't follow her swimming. I loved swimming; it was fun
Mhm.
until I actually had to work for like swimmer of the year and stuff like that. Like,
Mm.
that's where it got competitive, and I think I got it once. That was weird.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah, I followed all kinds of swimmers. There was Ian Thorpe. He was an Australian swimmer who was yeah, he was really amazing. So he was like Summer Olympics of, oh gosh, I don't know, early 2000s maybe. And his
okay,
teammates, yeah. And so his teammates called him Thorpedo. And so my teammates started calling me Gorepedo because, my maiden name was Gore. And so
were you a short distance swimmer or long?
long distance. Yeah,
Yeah,
I did.
I
Yeah.
did 400, 800, well,
Yeah.
200, 400, 800, and
Mhm.
then I did the 1600 at think it was in Hayes when we had the championship, and it
Okay.
was weird because I was in Oklahoma, but we swam in the Western Kids Swim Club.
Yeah. Yeah. It's in that league.
I just never got tired. It was weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same
Same.
with running. I could run long distance. I was weirdly fast, like, when I had to be, but
Mhm.
I'd rather swim long distance.
Yeah, same. So mine was 200s, 500s. And that's as high as it went in high school was 500 yards.
Oh, yeah. Ours for
Um,
competition
yeah,
every
but I
year.
did do the 1650.
Yeah,
Um,
ours was 60. Maybe that's
right, it's
probably
60
because it was
meters.
summer. Well,
Mhm,
maybe it was because it was summer and then
mhm.
high school. Is that still meters in high school or no?
No, or at least not
Still
around
or
here just
still
because,
young.
like, it's all indoor pools. Because like, if you think about it, like, boys swim team is during winter, so there's not 50-meter pools. The 50-meter pools are outdoors. So, like, Salt City Splashdown here,
Yeah.
it's a 50-meter pool, but that's only summertime. So, like, at the Y, summer league is all outdoor pool, and winter
Did you get
is
any scholarships for it, like, for college?
yeah, I had some scouts talking to me, but, I was so burnt out of swimming at that time that I was just like, "I don't
Were you
wanna."
swimming in the summer and during
Yeah.
school? Yeah,
Mhm.
that
Yeah, since I was 8.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. And I was so burnt out. I didn't even wanna swim senior year, but my parents are like, "No, you're gonna finish this, you're gonna do this." And I
Unless you plan on doing something with it, I don't see why your
no.
senior year should be your
Right.
final year. I think it should be when it stops being fun.
Right, and it had stopped being fun for me for a long time because, like, my life revolved around the pool schedule. Because, like, practiced in the mornings before school,
Mhm.
and then immediately after school, I was back in the pool, and, we practiced until 6 or 7 o'clock at night
Right.
and go home, shower, homework, eat some food, go to bed, day
And
starts over.
I was so hungry after swimming.
Oh my gosh, yeah, like, you could not feed me enough food. Um, so yeah, it just got old,
The
and
one thing
then
that I do think would have been even better is if the waterproof MP3 player had came out
oh my
before.
gosh, yes. Gosh, because that was one of the things, like, so my distance coach, Brad Johnson, he's an amazing coach. He is the head coach now of Hutch High Swim Team. He's been the assistant for a long
What's
time.
his last name?
Johnson? So Johnson Sheet Metal?
I don't think I knew him.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think I knew him personally. I probably heard the
Okay.
name. Did you
Yeah.
graduate with him or?
No, no, no. He's an older guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Made him sound like he was, like, our age or something.
Oh, God, no, 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 no. I swam with his children
Oh,
at the
okay.
Y.
So are
Um,
they part of the isn't there a Johnson family that's related to the Conklins? Because I know they were big swimmers, like,
yes, they were.
and the Fangmans.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I don't know if the Johnsons are in there either, but all of those kids did swim, but I don't know if they're, like, a part of
Right.
like, they own a branch of the Y or anything. But, how was I saying about him? Oh, he was such a good distance coach that he believed that you should over practice so that the race seemed shorter. So at practice, we did 800 and 900s to
Right.
make that 500 seem way
So kinda like
shorter
the
in a
practicing
meet.
in a 50-meter pole versus a 20.
Mhm. Mhm.
Makes sense, but
It does.
I was glad that it wasn't as strict as, like, football and wrestling,
Mm.
because then I would probably hated it even more. Because at least it
Mhm.
was just summer that I was doing it, but
Sure.
then when you start playing at Hutch High football, like, you can't really take summers off. You have other
Mhm.
obligations for drowning, in particular,
Mhm.
and then you
Sure.
had other obligations for, weights over weights, all
Yep.
that stuff. And really, to lift weights and swim, like, that could really mess with your body a lot.
Mhm.
At least
We
with me, it did.
Yeah, we did some weightlifting, but it was more light.
Yeah.
We did do some, like, max out days and stuff like that, but yeah, as a swimmer, you do have to
Mainly
be
low
careful.
rates, high reps.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, because you don't wanna bulk
no. Well,
the way.
if you do, like, I mean, it slows you down, obviously, but you don't, like, I don't know, it's
Y
weird because you're not as flexible, I don't think. I
Yeah,
don't think
and the
you're
aerodynamics, like, you're gonna
yeah.
have so much mass. Like, could you imagine, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger trying to be
I
aerodynamic?
bet you he was probably, what, 6'4", I
Yeah.
guess? So he'd probably been he was probably I think he was a swimmer, but he also
Mhm.
probably did that for the fitness part of it.
Right,
So,
and just also it's easy on your joints.
it's probably the best workout to lose weight for
Mhm.
sure,
Yeah, it's really good
and then
cardio.
I hate running, so
Same.
I would much rather swim from something than run from something, so and I would have probably been
Yeah,
way better at it, so
yeah,
so
100%.
let's talk about your college, okay? So this is what I found to be the most interesting thing, alright?
Gosh.
I have to take my glasses off for this
Oh
because
god.
I found it so bizarre, like, this was obviously after we had graduated, that I
Mhm.
mean, yeah, I knew who you were, but I
Mhm.
didn't really find, like we weren't, like, that close, but I think you and Josh were more like that.
Mhm.
We'd always have fun, but one thing that I found the most interesting about you was that you went to school to be first what?
Okay. Well, let me think back 400 years ago here. So I really wanted to go into physical therapy. Well, no, back up even more. I wanted to be an
Oh,
athletic trainer for a professional football team.
okay.
Okay. And that's what got me in that athletic training class that I took with Josh.
Okay.
Okay. And, but I realized like, okay, but I do want to have a family someday. And if I'm traveling across the country with the Chiefs, the Cowboys, the whoever, I'm not going to be home to be with my family. I'm going to
Cowboys.
miss. Yeah. Oh, sorry,
You
Cowboys
said
fan.
you brought it up. I'm a
Okay.
Cowboys.
Sorry.
Come on.
Oh, hey, look, I didn't really pay attention. Anyways. Oh, you're welcome for, oh my God, my brain just lost.
I'm welcome.
You're welcome. You just got a K-State recruit.
Oh, the running
Dude's
back.
fun.
Yeah.
Dude's fun. Yeah, you're welcome.
Is another Darren Sproles probably.
Yes, he's amazing. So yeah, I wanted to do athletic training, but then I realized like if I want to be a mom someday, I don't want to miss out on Christmas concerts and stuff like that and be
Right.
traveling across the country with a professional football team. So then I thought, well, I could do physical therapy and realized school for that was like 6 years.
For real?
For real.
Is
Yeah.
that like a doctorate or something?
It's almost like you have to go through like the bachelor's
Wow.
level program and then get accepted into the PT program and go
Wow.
through years of that and practicums and stuff like that. And I was just like, yeah, no, I'm out. I don't want to
So
go to
you're pretty
school for
much
that
a
long.
physical therapist that works for a team to tape them up and tell them what they need to do.
Mhm. Yeah. And so I was like, well, nope, I don't want to go to school for 6 years.
Well, it
So
seems like you did though.
I did.
But you went to school for 6 years, but you didn't want to go to school for
For
6
6 years.
years.
Yeah, I think I went to school for way longer than because I actually started college as a junior in high school. I started taking college classes then.
Ooh.
Yeah. My goal was to graduate high school and from HCC in the same year.
So how many to make that part of your story shorter, so that
Yes.
way, I mean, I know you're cut for time, but
Oh, no, we're okay. We're okay.
if you were to be able to say you wanted to be a physical therapist and then what you actually ended up doing, because WSU was your first school, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So from your first choice of major
Mhm.
to your last choice, how many did you have and what was your final, what did you graduate with?
Okay. So, started out as PT, eventually went back and got a surgical assistance degree, and then switched to psychology, and then now to education. So I technically have a license as a surgical assistant.
Yeah, I remember you had a job for I don't know how long, but
Yeah, it wasn't very long because I have lots of things to say about doctors and surgeons, and I
you were
won't.
very into that for sure.
I loved it. I still love the medical field, but there's just things about it that I ethically and morally I'm not willing to tolerate every day.
I just know that was like, I
Yeah.
think your first profession
Yeah.
when you came back to it, actually.
Yes. Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
so
Yeah. So, so licensed surgical assistant, went back and got a degree in psychology. So that's
mhm.
what my bachelor's is in. And then transitioned into teaching. And now I have a master's in education.
Through WSU?
No, that is actually through Fort Hayes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mhm.
So
And then I have a minor in behavioral psychology. And
and
I
are you done with school? That's to start my question with that. Are you done? Do you feel that you're done with school?
no.
Because you feel like you need to continue education or that you want to move on in your field of study?
Um,
That's
it's a
like
little bit of both. I want to learn more about certain things. Like I would love to explore the behavioral psychology piece a little bit more.
right?
And
Like in adolescents or adults or just
both.
everything?
Hmm.
Okay. So that's how many jobs did you have or that could you have applied for after college? So is that 3 that you could have actually had in your professional field? So it's not like a
Hmm.
general education degree where you have nothing
Hmm.
really to apply it to. Like, I mean,
Hmm.
you could have been a teacher also if you had your psychology degree, right?
You still technically have to have a teaching license.
Still today?
Yeah, yeah,
I thought
yeah.
they changed it to where because of the shortage, I thought they changed the
Okay.
licensing rule.
Yeah. So, and that's actually the way I got my teaching license is I had a bachelor's in psychology and I applied for a teaching position and then got accepted into what they call the T to T program through Fort Hayes. Like Fort Hayes has it, Emporia, I think Wichita State does, but
Mixed teaching schools.
it's called transition to teach. So you get hired as a teacher while you're going to school to be a teacher.
Oh, okay.
And it's actually really cool. I
So does
really,
that like also count for your where you had to go and teach like part of your like hour, almost like a doctor, the what is that called?
yeah.
Resident type
Yeah,
stuff?
so instead of student teaching,
Right.
this is what you're doing. Like you
Okay.
are a
That
teacher.
seems a little
And
bit better.
I highly recommend it that way because I know at
You
one
could actually
point,
find out if you wanted it before you finish school.
right, right. And also the things that you learn in class, you can immediately apply to your classroom the next day. You're not trying to remember something you learned 4 years ago in your early education programs, like you can immediately apply it that day. So they just kind of do a degree audit based off of what you have and
Right.
say whether you're qualified to teach that position or not. And then, like the district has to communicate with the college. So, like, I was teaching for Hutch. And so Hutch had to say, hey, Fort Hayes, yes, we will hire her if you let her in the program. And Fort Hayes had to say, hey, yeah, we'll let her in the program if you hire her. So they both had to send letters to each other.
Wow.
And yeah, so I taught family and consumer science,
I
which
just
is
want to
like,
make sure it's
you're good.
still recording.
You're good. So yeah, taught family and consumer science, like cooking, sewing, budgeting.
Do you have a specific uh, subject that you were like that you focused around, or
Um,
just general education?
just kind of general stuff for my students.
Did you have a favorite subject that you wanted to study and then teach, other than like
Mm,
probably psychology or like maybe behavioral science, probably?
yeah, mainly just life skills because I think that's something that like kids today are lacking the most. And that became apparent while I was teaching because I'll never forget the first day we did a cooking lab. I did from scratch pancakes, right? I thought the kids would be able to handle that. And it became very apparent to me that like they didn't even know what a measuring cup was
Right.
or how to measure the flour for it. So for me, like I can have pancakes whipped up in 11 minutes and cooking, you know what I mean? They
Yeah.
were
I mean, you need a
still
measuring cup for pretty much anything you really want to cook from scratch. So,
right, exactly. And so like that was the biggest wake up call for me as a rookie teacher going, "Oh my gosh, like I knew that um people come from different home lives and backgrounds and stuff like that, but I had never considered that kids may have not grown up in the kitchen like I did."
right.
Like there's pictures of me making pies with my mom when I was 2,
Right.
and so it just had never dawned on me that,
Is that why
man,
you, is that really what got you and your daughter baking and cooking?
yeah. Yeah, I strongly believe that if you want your kids to be able to learn, you gotta have them hip to hip with you
Right.
all the time. I mean, she made her own scrambled eggs and toast when she was 1. And, like, my students never believed that, and so I recorded her doing it one day. I mean, obviously, I'm standing right there helping.
How long have you been teaching and then being a mom? So like she's
Okay.
one, and then that now
Yeah.
she's how old?
Bella is 7. She will be
Wow.
8 in February.
6 years ago you started teaching, I'm assuming?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1 years old. I ate a Big Mac at one.
Big Mac? Did you
Yeah,
eat
and
the
then
whole thing?
yeah. Well, from what I was told, I don't
Oh,
remember.
dang.
But that's also probably when I believe I was swimming by myself in the deep end without floaties or nothing. Was before one.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, kind of
Wow.
adds up.
Wow.
Physical skills
Yeah.
or fight or flight, I guess. So
Mhm.
so your behavioral science, like that you or psychology, I mean it's behavioral science.
Yeah.
Is that what you would say has helped you be a mom, or would you say being a mom has helped you in behavioral science?
Oh, man. I think it's helped me be a better mom because I understand the brain and what's going on with her.
Right?
Um,
She like you?
yeah.
Okay, so she's your
But
daughter.
she's pretty stubborn though, so I'm gonna
I
say
didn't know
that's
she was like, obviously
bad.
the way that you post about her on
Yeah.
Facebook and social media, like she's obviously not like her dad, quiet. She's not a quiet man or
Right.
quiet little girl.
Right. Right.
She's very verbal.
Yes.
Tells you what she wants and why she wants it. She knows what
Mhm.
she wants.
Mhm. And that's something that I work with her on then too though. So I've like made her communicate. So even like one thing I'm working even on with Marcus right now is like Bella will sneeze and he'll be like, "Hey, you need a tissue?" And she'll say, "Yeah." And he'll jump up and get it for her. And I'm like, "No, no, no, go get it. Go get it. You don't need to
Right.
save and rescue and fix her.
Right.
Help her figure out where she can find that herself."
Now she doesn't need it, or does she
Mm.
still have that problem?
No, she just does it
There
herself.
we go.
Yeah. And so like I'm kind of like as a parent, if your ultimate goal is not for your kids to be completely independent of you, then you're failing.
Yeah. Were you taught that the same way
Yeah.
though? I mean,
Mhm.
another thing that about you that I think is I can't think of anybody right now is that you're an only child.
Uh-huh.
So you never had any brothers. Do you wish you might have had that?
At times, yeah, because there were times that I can remember being lonely, but it was because like maybe my dad's mowing and my mom is busy doing domestic chores or whatever. Maybe she was at work. And so I was left to play by myself or watch a movie by myself, which I mean, parents have to do what they have to do, right?
Right.
And so it's not a slam on them at all because they
Right.
always played with me and made sure I knew I was loved and cared for and all of that. But there were times where I'm like, dang, I wish I had someone to play with.
Does that change your mind about only having one child? Maybe I didn't know if you ever had plans to ever have another one,
No,
but I didn't know if it
yeah.
was.
Like there's times where I
She
think
doesn't
about
seem
it.
lonely. If
Yeah,
that's any.
she's not lonely or she doesn't express that she
I
is.
think her dad is also her big brother. in a way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they are always together too. Yeah, no, second kid's just not an option for us.
I just didn't know if that was like
Should.
a plan or if you felt like a kid needed maybe like some people buy 2 dogs. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
that's stupid, but like with all the people that I know, I think you're the only
Mm,
child. I honestly can't. You would think that would be able to come to mind, but you're the only
mhm,
one that I've ever known.
mhm. I'm spoiled as shit, man.
I wouldn't say you're spoiled. I mean, your
I
dad
am.
probably spoiled you more than your mom. It
Mm,
seems like. I mean, I knew
facts.
your mom though because we worked together at Dillon's on fit.
Yeah, that's
So,
right.
and I knew her before I knew you. I think.
Oh, that's right. Because I can kinda remember when you made that connection of like, "Oh,
I
Shelly's
think
your
it was a
mom."
sophomore or junior when I started at Dillon's, and she was.
Mhm. Didn't Jordan work there, or was he at the
No,
other store?
it was not Dillon's.
He wasn't?
He
Where
might have
was
worked at
he?
Dillon's warehouse,
Oh, okay. Okay.
but Josh tried to get a job there. It was me and well, Philip had worked there. I think he's worked there still. I think he
Yeah,
still
he's
works
still there.
there. I'm good, but he worked there, and then no, yeah, Josh tried to get a job there, and he just didn't do it. It was when he came back from work one time, like
Mm.
or back from school from Ozark.
Okay.
He tried to apply there, I think, and he just I don't think he was that interested in getting a job, but
He just didn't follow through with it?
well, no, I don't think he really like tried. Like he went to an interview, but like he wasn't calling or anything like that.
Mm.
So I don't know if he really wanted that job or if he was like looking for something more like at a church or something like that.
Oh, sure. That makes sense.
So I I would have hated that job if I was going to school to do something that I wanted to be good at. Why would I want
Yeah,
to stock shelves or check people out or taking carts? Because
100%. Let me work in my
John,
field.
John, no matter what, you were always going to push carts first.
Mhm.
And if you're only there for a short time, I don't see you moving up the chain anytime soon.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely
So
not.
John was he was a very he was like Dryling almost. He was a manager,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
he was a bit more of a dick. I
Yeah.
don't know. So, but yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. But
Yeah,
after
what were we talking
college,
about?
well, we were talking about how your husband is also kind of like your daughter's
Oh,
big
yeah,
brother.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
But like, and you were spoiled by your dad probably more than you were your mom because your mom
Mhm.
just seems a little bit more like tough love than your
Oh,
dad
yeah.
does.
100%.
That's just personal opinion too.
Yeah,
So
no, you're
so
not wrong. You're not
that's,
wrong.
I hope I didn't shoot myself in the foot with your mom. So
Nope. Baby apologize. No, just
how
kidding.
is she doing anyway? 'Cause didn't she just have knee surgery?
Yeah, she broke her leg.
And what'd she fall off of again?
Okay, so she literally stepped down. Okay, you've been at my parents' house,
It's
right?
been a minute,
It's
but
been a
yeah, they
minute.
haven't moved. So
No, okay, so just literally walking out the back door of the garage and stepped down into the garage to take out the trash. And she rolled her left ankle on the step. And then you know how you kind of stumble? Her right leg buckled, like her
jeez.
knee buckled. And so I can use my surgery stuff here, but like, you know, your shin bone is your tibia, right? And your tibia is shaped like a T, but it has more of like a ball on each side. That's called the tibia plateau. Okay. And that's
Mm,
what makes up part of the knee. She broke the whole plateau off on both sides.
that's almost like the UFC fighters when they kick
Yes.
and it snaps right there. Oh my
Yes.
god.
Yeah. So that's what she broke.
I can't watch it more than when I see it. It's the worst injury I think I've
Mm-hmm.
ever seen in a sport. That and I've seen a guy like his elbow hyperextend by getting hit from
Oh,
the outside of the elbow in,
mm-hmm.
but that is ruthless. Have
Mm-hmm.
you do you watch UFC or
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
okay,
I've
so
seen
that
those.
is I can't like when they replay why would you replay that? Like
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the end of most people's career.
Mm-hmm.
The only person to ever come back and do it is Anderson Silva, and he
Mm-hmm.
even after that, he wasn't the same.
Mhm.
So
Or, like, do you
that's
remember in the, NCAA tournament several years ago, that Kentucky player who snapped his leg?
I didn't see that.
You don't remember that? Oh my
Uh-uh.
gosh, you'll have to look that up, but,
I don't think I want to.
he was just running and his leg buckled, and, I mean, and it was a compound fracture, like, the bone came out of the skin.
And that I don't think I've seen that in the UFC.
Yeah.
That hasn't happened.
Yeah, and
But
it was like a freak thing, like, that guy was just running or maybe he planted his foot to shoot or something, I can't remember exactly what happened, but suddenly he was on the ground
that's
and
probably because that's usually what happens. Like the plant foot either goes through the shoe or it goes. Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
I don't want to see. So
Yeah.
she is doing better though.
She is, yeah, she can finally bend her knee, completely again, so, like, I had to go over there today to pick up something, and she was laying in her bed, and she had both knees bent and up, just chilling, watching TV. She is the toughest human I've ever met. Like, did you know she battled breast cancer a
Yeah.
couple years ago? Yeah, so
Yeah.
she
And then
had
didn't Bogies have like a tribute for
yeah.
your mom's or was it a shake?
Yeah, it was a shake of the month. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so the proceeds went
I
to,
don't follow social media, but when I do, like
mhm.
little stupid things like that I remember.
Yeah, so Bogies did a really cool thing. Like there was a shake of the month every month, and people could turn in submissions of like what should the shake flavor be, what's it called, and then who gets the proceeds of that. Like,
Mhm.
um, and so I had submitted a strawberry cheesecake with white chocolate chips or something in it, and it was for breast cancer awareness. And the money went to Cancer Council of Reno County, and because my mom was a part of that program, and it is absolutely amazing the way that they take care of people.
Oh, the foundation that you chose to have.
Yeah,
Did
here,
you get to choose where it
yeah.
went to? Okay.
Mhm.
I wish I could say I tried it. I didn't try it. I don't like Bogey shake. I
You
don't like Bogey
don't?
shakes. No, because when I want a Snickers shake, I know this is getting off topic because
You're
we're talking
good.
everyone's breast
You're
cancer,
good. No,
but
tell me.
Bogey shakes, okay? If it says Snickers, I want Snickers. I don't want a peanut with
Mm.
caramel.
Oh, okay, that's fair. That's
That
fair.
is like the ice cream, it's probably good ice cream, but like
Mhm.
when I want a shake, and normally a shake, I just want the chocolate shake. But like
Okay.
their sonic idea of the mixed drinks is like crazy. And then
Yeah.
like the Twix, how do you make your own Twix? You
Yeah, I
can't.
don't know. Yeah.
Chocolate and caramel.
Yeah.
So you're
Little bits
just
of cookie.
overpaying for a candy bar named after a shake or a shake
Mhm.
named after a candy bar. So
Makes
so
sense.
but was she in remission or did she fight this all the way through and then
Okay, so we were very, very lucky. So her sister had breast cancer and eventually she passed away from it over a year ago. But because of her sister's cancer, my mom's female doctor was having her do more than just mammograms because that's just standard practice. Like every female gets mammograms. Well, mammograms don't always detect everything. And so,
right.
because of the history of cancer, my mom's doctor had her doing these high tech ultrasounds in Wichita, and it is what detected it. And so she was at stage 0. It
When
w
they detected
when
it?
they detected
Was
it,
that like through a blood or was that through like a scan or
it was through an ultrasound. So it
oh
was
wow.
like a visual thing.
Jeez.
And so they were able to find it, and it was less than a millimeter in size. And
That's just their mom didn't have it though. But both the sisters ended up having
no, no,
breast
this is
cancer.
my mom.
Yeah, I know, but her sister, right? Or you said aunt, right?
Yeah, her sister had breast
Yeah.
cancer when I was in high school.
Now did her
Yeah.
mom their mom have breast?
No,
Wow.
she's had some weird lumps and stuff that they've always taken out and biopsied, and she was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they caught my mom's when it was at a stage 0. She immediately elected to have a double mastectomy, just to prevent it from potentially coming back.
Yeah.
And I mean, chick is
Now
tough as
is this
nails.
a worry for you if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, I mean, it is a worry for me. And so I've been in conversation with my doctors of like, okay, so technically women don't have to start doing mammograms until they're 40, but like, should I start sooner? And at my next appointment that I need to schedule, I plan to have more conversations about that because the
To get
OBGYN that I
ahead.
had been seeing is leaving. So now I have
Retiring or
going somewhere else.
oh, okay.
And so now I have to like reestablish with a whole new doctor. And
Ooh,
yeah, it's
that's
female
probably
healthcare
that's
is
probably
not
gotta be
great.
the worst to retell somebody everything that they already know about it.
Oh, yeah, that's hard because then you have to jump through all
I
of the
find it weird how
hoops.
they have male like, female doctors. Like, that's
Yeah,
just like, I don't know if that, like, is a red flag.
yeah,
Like, I don't know what your interests are, but,
yeah.
I
It
don't
is.
think that I really wanna deal with that for a
Yeah.
career.
My first female doctor was a male, and it was weird, but it's just like for a long time, like
Was
women
that,
weren't
like, when you're
allowed
a
to
child or, like, when you're adult?
an adult. Yeah. Teen,
Whoa.
teen and adult. But we're still kind of getting over the like females can be doctors hump.
Right.
Like we're still in some of that. And
See, for
so
me, it wasn't that weird. It was more like the like male nurses. That was more, I guess,
oh, you think
more
it's weird too?
different. Well, no, it was
Mm.
just more different. You didn't see that happening because
Yeah.
males kind of have that thing hanging over them that I shouldn't be just a
Oh,
nurse. Like,
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
okay,
Or it's not okay, or it's weird. It makes them a creep. And
yeah.
I hate that
'Cause I went to Halstead,
standard.
so I saw a lot of female doctors. They were also like
Mm.
from another country usually
Oh,
because that
sure.
was a big time like heart hospital. It was one of the biggest
Mm.
heart hospitals I do believe,
Gotcha.
from people coming all over the world. So that wasn't too weird for me.
Yeah.
Male nurses, that was different to see though.
Oh, sure. Or, same with like male teachers or male daycare providers. Like I remember, so like where I met Marcus, we met working in a daycare,
Right.
and there was a policy there that males were not allowed to work in diaper changing rooms.
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
do that.
Oh,
I
okay.
I
Well, no,
I mean,
this was because I guess many, many years ago, a woman had gone in and saw that there was a male in the room and was changing a diaper, and she automatically thought that something bad, malicious was going on.
hmm.
You
Did they
but
change it now?
No, well, I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I don't know that for a fact, but I know when we left there, males were still not allowed in diaper changing rooms.
I don't see a
Just
problem with that at all.
I see it. I do because I'm
But
just
that's
like,
just because I don't wanna do diapers. So
sure,
and it's not
yeah.
that I think it's a woman thing, it's just like, if I don't have a kid,
Oh, sure,
then that's a little bit different. Like, why
sure.
am I changing other people's kids' diapers?
Mhm.
Because this was before Marcus and you had a kid.
Right,
So, like, I could see, like,
right.
that's
He
totally
was an
okay with me.
uncle.
Did he change their
Yeah,
diaper?
because
Okay,
they lived with him.
well, there you go. I
Yeah,
mean,
so it wasn't anything.
I don't think I've ever changed my niece's
Really?
diapers. No. This well, I mean, I also had
Mm.
never really lived with them to have to.
Oh, sure.
Never babysat them at that age, so
Gotcha.
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no, there's not, and
Throw
so
that
it's
di
just
I mean, throw that diaper job out the door and give it to whoever wants it, so I'm fine
yeah,
with that.
right.
So, let's move on to what you're doing now. So
Yeah.
now are you, like, classified as a education provider? Is it just a teacher
Mm.
for this are you a state teacher
I am
or
a licensed teacher for the
there
for
we
the
go.
state of Kansas. Yep, I have a license.
And what is your, like, from everything that I've seen you post about, like, you come in to, like, guest, like, speak for
Mhm.
people, like, what do they introduce you as? Are you just a teacher, or do you have, like, specializations, I guess?
I do. Okay, so technically, it just depends on whatever I'm presenting on. So I have different areas that I can present on. So I also have a license in trauma informed yoga. So like I can help people through their anxieties, their depressions, whatever is ailing them. We can work on some yoga flows that can help you through that. So sometimes I'm presenting about yoga, sometimes I'm presenting about mindfulness, SEL, which is social emotional learning, which is kind of a taboo topic out in the world right now, which we could definitely spend some time talking about. Um, it can also be behavioral intervention, de-escalation from a brain standpoint, because we all know like people will say like take a deep breath and they'll calm you
Mhm.
down. Well, but why does that work? So I help people break down the brain chemistry that happens
Mhm.
so you can understand where you're coming from.
Right.
um, I also present just as the director of the learning center.
So
um,
you're the director of the ESDEC is
Learning
it just
center.
ESDEC Learning Center? Okay.
It's the Reno County Learning Center.
Okay.
But it's part of ESDAC.
So you considered a county employee at that point, or are you still a state employee?
So I'm actually an employee of
Okay.
ESDAC.
Well, that's better than state probably
Yeah.
in most places, so
hmm
I think state teachers get a bad rap
Yeah.
for the education, like, program provided is what I
Yeah.
think it is, so.
Yeah.
So at ESDEC, so is it like because I saw that on the job post that you had on there, it was
Yeah.
for children of ages K through 12, I'm assuming?
No, it's actually we're my center only does high school.
Okay.
So I can have teenagers all the way through adults. So like last year I had an adult graduate who was
For
63,
GED?
64. No, high school diplomas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they get an
Wow.
actual high school diploma through my
That's
program.
cool.
Yeah.
And are these, like, people that just didn't finish high school, or is these people, like, coming in from,
Mm.
like, out of prison?
Um, so these are typically people who didn't finish high school for whatever reason, or like the teenagers that I have, traditional education is just not working out for them for whatever reason. Maybe their anxiety is too high to be in a school building, or they struggle with depression, or have behavior problems, or they've been expelled, or whatever. Then most of the time they end up with me. But yeah, the adults typically had to drop out for whatever reason and then
Getting
decide they want to
pregnant?
come
The
back. Yeah.
females got pregnant
Yeah, it
or
could be pregnant, or I had one of my adults last year. She dropped out because she had to go to work to help provide for the family because they just
right?
couldn't afford to live. So,
And how old did you say that person was that just graduated?
63 or
Oh,
64.
wow.
Yeah.
And what was their like, I don't know if you can share that, but, like,
And
did they ever tell you why they wanted to come back and get their diploma or
they just wanted to have it
well, there you go.
so they can say I did it.
And does that fall under, like, when you teach? Like, I'm assuming that when you were planning for a year, like, how teachers, like, plan their, like, learning, or their education, like, what is that, platform or whatever?
Our plan,
How do you
education plan.
yeah, how do you, like, balance that with adults versus, like, kids? Like, I'm sure you probably have to step up from talking to, like, high school age kids
Mhm.
to 60, 70-year-old people.
Yeah. So everybody has their own graduation plan that they follow. So I do a transcript audit. I get their transcripts from their high school and I look and see what they need versus what you need. And we just make a plan together of what classes you're going to complete. And most of our stuff is done online, but we try and make it applicable to life too.
Mhm.
So let's say someone is working in their math class and it's all about investments or taxes. Bring your taxes in and let's work on them together. and let's do it in a way that's going to make sense for you and it's going to get you the best return. And so that would count
You're like
towards
H in our block too.
kinda,
What?
kinda. Or, like if I've got one adult student right now who runs her own cleaning business. Hey, bring in all of your business stuff and let's figure out your budget. What's your profit margin?
So is
Let's
math like one of the things? I hate math.
Yeah,
I
all
think
of it.
it's the worst subject in the There should be a foreign language. It shouldn't be like a mandatory.
Yeah.
That's the dumbest.
I agree. I think that especially in math, students shouldn't be taking algebra 2B if they're not going to be
Use
an
it.
engineer. If they're like,
I had to
it
bite my
needs,
tongue though. I had to
Mhm.
bite my tongue
Yeah.
because I always told my teachers that I would never use any of this, and I got proven wrong one time. One time, I had to use the Pythagorean theorem at where I work now when we were laying out the field diagram for soccer.
Wow.
So I will bite my tongue about that, but other than that, you should know checking, adding and
Yes.
subtracting, and then if you're gonna get into, like, stocks and savings, like, that's
Yes.
I think that's the biggest thing that you should have to learn.
Right.
Because if you don't learn that, that's just like you said, like, if you let your kids or if you do everything for your
Mhm.
kids, you're setting them up for failure. And a lot of
Right.
people didn't even have banking classes, and that I found that odd.
Yeah, right. And so like that's where I think a lot of our education should be spent is on those basic life skills. Like when a 18-year-old graduates high school, do they know how to balance their checkbook? Do they know how to file their taxes and what a credit means or a
Right,
deduction? Do they know how to fill out an I-9 when they get a job? Do you know?
right.
Like or
Well,
their
like,
W-4?
the only
Mhm.
issue that I ever had growing up was, like, the filling out college stuff, not just the
FAFSA?
FAFSA, that
Ugh.
was dumb, like, they don't have that, but, like, they show you what to do, but it doesn't make any sense. It's
Mm-mm.
almost like, I don't know, like, laws that are getting brought into, like, hiding them in, like, whatever they call them, like, bylaws and all that
Mhm.
you're stacking stuff and piggybacking stuff on the words that you're using. If I don't know what they mean, then why would you even say it? So,
Right. Exactly.
but, yeah, checking is definitely, I would say, the first step at, like so I think we learned that in 7th grade.
Right, or understanding how to set up a budget. And that's the thing, I think, like, learning it in 7th grade is important, but you're thinking, "I'm 12 years old.
Right.
I don't need to figure out and understand how to manage a budget yet." And so, yeah, let's do some introductory stuff there, but, like, let's keep hitting it and hitting it and hitting it. That way when they walk out at 18, they know, "Okay, this is what I need." I'll never forget working with a young teacher. It was my 2nd or 3rd year teaching, and he was sharing with me that when he got into college, he didn't understand how credit cards worked. And so he had racked up like $50,000 in debt
Holy
at a
moly.
27% interest
I'm
because
just surprised that they had a $50,000 limit.
I
Like,
know,
how does
right?
that even
Oh, I think he had multiple cards.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've only had one in my life.
Yeah. Same. And so he just didn't understand that, like, okay, yeah, you spend $200 on whatever and you get the statement and it says minimum payment is $28. Oh, only $28? Like, he did not understand that, like,
Interest?
that's not paying the credit card. And it's just like, how are we graduating people out into the world who don't even understand how a credit card works?
And he was a teacher.
And he was a
Or
teacher.
was he teaching this to, like, students, or was he just that's just what his mindset was?
That was his mindset when he was
Wow.
in college. He
Oh,
didn't
okay.
know. And so by the time he
Okay.
graduated
You did say in
college,
college.
yeah.
Wow, that's so hard.
Yeah. And
I mean, I didn't know
so
much about credit cards either, and I didn't get one until I was, I think, 27, 28.
yeah.
So, it just didn't interest me. I saw what my dad had to do when he had credit
Mm.
cards. He struggled. I mean, he had
Mhm.
worked so much overtime just to pay them off,
Mhm.
and that was just to buy, like, school clothes. Like,
Right.
he would swipe that school.
Right. Exactly. And so I just really feel like if we want our communities to be happy, healthy, and successful, we've got to start prioritizing what it is we're exactly teaching our students because algebra 2 ain't it. Geometry is not it unless people are going into fields where they are going to use that. You're going to go be an engineer? Absolutely. We need to do in every geometry class and every algebra class. But for a person who is, I don't, I don't know. I can't even give an example right now,
Well, like
but
I think to feed off of that, you could also say that, like, people who don't are not a good student, like, people who just
yeah.
don't like school, I think that, like, they should have other options to learn, like, like you
Yeah.
said, podcasting. This could be a big
Yes.
thing for some people, but, like, I also think that the ADHD thing is a loophole for some people, like
Mhm.
doctors and some students or not students, teachers really,
Mhm.
like, say that I can't teach him because he has ADHD.
Mhm. It
Like
just means
public schools,
we don't know how to teach them.
you don't know how to interest them is all
Right.
really what it is. I
Right.
think I got bored in school, so I wasn't, like, the greatest. I had passed C's.
Mhm.
I was fine with it.
Mhm.
I'm fine with a medal. I would go a bronze medal, but
Yeah. A
like,
C means average. And
I'm
that's the
fine with
thing,
that.
like, a lot of parents especially put pressure on students to not get a C. C just means average, like, the average human
I'm
will
totally fine
score
with that.
this.
I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah.
I was fine with it, but I also wish that I had the option to, like, now Hutch has like CNA classes. You can take CNA
Yes.
class. Like welding. I wish I would have probably gotten like more of a hands-on job, like welding or
Mhm.
carpentry. Probably now, since I own a home, like
Mm,
that's
yeah.
I learn all my stuff now from YouTube, and I think that
Yeah.
that's the biggest education thing for me because I can learn. Pinterest is a little more for like going around, like
Mhm.
cutting corners and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And that I think is like short-term content and stuff like that. I think that's
Mhm.
fun. But I
Mhm.
think that the long-term content, if you can actually sit down for a good hour and learn something like on a video and then try to apply
Mhm.
it, kind of like in home ec, how you watch
Mhm.
the video of how to make something
Mhm.
and then you go step by step.
Mhm.
So that's why I wish that like stuff like this would have been something of my interest in
Yeah.
high school. And if I would have learned this, who knows, I could have been a Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Or you might still have female Joe Rogan. Like
Mhm.
they don't have a big female podcast show that's like number one that you don't hear about.
Mhm.
I don't know if you listen to any other podcasts, but like Joe Rogan has been the number one. But like if you had people like that teaching students
Mhm.
how to apply like something that they're interested, like video games. I think video
Mhm.
games is probably the biggest industry in
Yeah.
our lives. Well, not my life. I just play two games. That's it.
Mhm.
But like video, if somebody learned how to like make a video game
Like
or
program.
talk about
Mhm.
like you could sit there and just talk about how to succeed in that video game. Like people make money
Right.
off of that.
Right.
Careers. Like the youngest kid is like 8 years old.
Mhm.
He's like the number one child YouTuber, and he makes hundreds of thousands more than you and
It's
I combined.
crazy. Mhm.
So
And
I think the
that's
ADHD thing is a loophole, and that's why I think that like boredom is like the biggest thing for me now. I think as an adult, looking back at it, that's how I think I got bored with like math
mhm.
being forced. I don't think you should be forced to find out what the interest of the kid
Right.
is.
Right. And
Don't
so
force them to do a curriculum that they're going to be bored with.
sure. And that's what's amazing about Kansas education right now is like they are moving towards that path, and it's called Kansas Can, and it's the redesigned programs and things that people are. I don't know if
Oh,
you
was that
hear.
the governor that did that, or is that the
It's
previous like
education.
right? But
It's
did was it Sebelius that was our education? No, that was the
mm,
that was when she went to like the White House and stuff. But I know that there was a governor pushing
mm,
for that. I didn't know if it was this governor.
yeah, I think it's this one. Um, but it's an initiative to try and help kids figure out things that they're interested in, and then they can kind of go down that track. Like if we
Right,
know, so if someone would have noticed me having a medical brain in high school, they're going to get me into the math class that will help me in a nursing career and get me in that CNA class
right.
and then CMA, and oh, let's get you
How would
in.
you test for that though? Like, how would you know unless you actually had like I don't know, like a little like project or something like, hey, this is like
Yeah.
dissecting a worm or whatever.
Yeah, well, and that's where you have to experiment and expose people to stuff. That's why kids have to take so many electives in high school is to expose you to those things to see what you're interested in, because
Right,
you might not know you have a gift in photography until you're thrown in a photography class and you're like,
right,
dang, I'm actually good at this and I really like editing. You don't know until you expose them and try.
right.
And so that's why you see, especially like in grade school. So like my daughter goes to a grade school right now that's just absolutely amazing in this redesign process. And they're doing all kinds of cool stuff. They have a botany club.
A botany club.
Yeah, they have a botany club, and these kids plant flowers at the school, and they are responsible for taking care of them all year long.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's just one thing. And then
I
like,
can't think of anything like that that we had other than
yeah, we didn't.
DECA. I guess DECA was the only
Becca,
thing but that was to get you into the working field before you left
right.
high school.
Hmm.
And that's pretty much forcing you to do something you might not want to do.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah. So Kansas education is kind of like starting to do that because, like I see it all the time working in with public educators. I've seen people admire the problem and not try to solve and create a solution for that kid. So maybe you've got the English teacher sitting there saying, "Oh, little Johnny's failing my class and he just doesn't understand Shakespeare." But are we aware that he's a badass welder?
right.
Like, who
Shakespeare
cares?
isn't interesting to everybody.
Right, who cares about Shakespeare? But, like, let's check out his welding skills and let's get him hooked up with an internship at Kraus
Right.
or whatever, and so that's kind of where
I think that's where the No Child Left Behind thing kind of fell and like it
yeah.
fell under the floor when it could have helped people like that. Like with that, if that was the
Mhm.
curriculum that they were using for No Child Left Behind.
Mhm.
Should be, let's find out what they're interested in.
Right, because then they aren't left behind because they're finding
And
passion and
now it's
joy.
more of a crutch than anything.
Right, and as educators, we should be doing things that get kids excited about coming to school.
Right, and I
So
hated going well, I hated
yeah,
mornings. I was I wish
yeah.
there was another options that you could have chose to if you were more of a morning person,
Mhm.
you can go in the mornings, or if you're more
Yeah,
like taking the ACTs, like, I'm not gonna do good at that thing if I especially if I have to be there at 7 a.m.
yeah.
I Christmas treed the math part, and that was my high score. So, like, if you had the option
Mm.
to take the ACTs in the evening, I bet you I would have probably scored higher because
Yeah,
I was more of an evening person or
yeah.
night owl or whatever they call it, I don't know.
Yeah, and it's interesting to kind of if you start researching other countries or even just other states
Mhm.
that they have later start times,
Right.
or they end earlier in the day, or they go year round. Like I'm actually a huge proponent for year round school because then you don't have these education gaps. You don't have a full summer. They have
Right.
longer breaks,
And
so
your husband would be mad.
he would be very mad that we didn't have a summer.
Now, what
So
is now before I'm don't wanna
you're
interrupt, but what
good.
is he doing now? Because I knew that he was in the daycare and stuff.
Yeah,
Now is he a para?
he is para. Yeah, he's actually para at my daughter's school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So is he in her class or
No, he's not. Like they don't have them together.
oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Maybe good and bad. Because
I
then,
think
like,
it's all good because then
does
that
she get to see
way
him though?
oh, yeah, like, he'll
Okay,
stop by and see her when she's in the lunchroom.
that's
He'll like,
good.
as he's walking to another class, he'll pop in, say hi,
Right.
that kind of thing.
So, back to the education thing.
Oh,
So,
you're good.
um, I know that you didn't have those flaws, but I think the biggest thing also now is the size of class that you're able to work with. Like,
Yeah.
from what it sounds like that you work one-on-one with individuals also,
Yeah, I do. So, like, currently right now, total students I have is 47, but that's my teenagers and my adults. But
and you
the
different times of the day, though, I'm assuming,
yeah,
right? Okay.
adults we hardly see because they most of them have full-time jobs and they're working and taking care of kids and running kids to sports practices and
Right,
things like that. So, we see them every once in a while, or maybe they'll text me at night and be like, "Hey, can you help me figure out this science question or whatever?" And so I just kind of help them as I can. And obviously whenever they come in the building. But yeah, our teens were
right.
really
I think that's probably a big help too when you can actually dedicate individual time to an individual
yeah.
because I mean that's what a pair is also for. Also,
Yeah.
from what I understood, having ADHD is what they said
Mhm.
that I had. But I actually got rid of my pair by myself. I don't know if that was even a possibility. I just said that I went to my own like parent teacher conferences because my parents they worked, so I just
Mhm.
went to my own. I said I'd really not like a pair, and they actually let me have it.
Oh, wow.
They got rid of her. It was
Yeah.
weird having somebody follow you around.
Yeah.
Like that's another thing. Like people ask you, "Why is she following you around?" And not everybody knows that she's taking notes for you, or that she
Right.
doesn't know that she's helping you understand what is being said if you don't know the
Mhm.
vocabulary in that book or whatever.
Mhm.
I think mine was the note taking because I think I'm dyslexic somehow, and then I
Mm.
also read off the page like I got cross-eyed and stuff like that, so I got
Yeah.
bored taking notes also. So
Absolutely. Well, and that as educators too, like that's where it's really important that like if you were in my classroom, I would quickly identify that giving you a paper copy test is not the thing for you. I'm going to ask you the questions verbally.
right,
I'm going to be like, "Hey Bobby, what is the temperature range for the danger zone?" If you can tell me those numbers, we're good. If
okay.
you can tell me the definition of cross contamination and give me an example, we're good. You
I
know?
don't know what the
Mhm.
danger zone numbers are by any
Yeah,
means
it's 40 degrees to 140 degrees
for
for
danger zone.
food.
Oh, okay,
For food. Yeah. So like if something's supposed to be cold, like you don't want your potato salad to temp at 50 degrees.
right, it'll spoil.
It's growing stuff and you don't want
Right.
to eat it. So
So let's get into your episode of the podcast that I listened to. I think
oh
that's gonna
yeah.
like I'm assuming that this was like a special thing that you did for that episode. Is that right?
Yeah.
Because you're not on but that one for that podcast?
I'm on a couple of those. So that for the educational consulting part of my job, I'm part of the resilience team at ESDAC, and that is where we go out and we do professional development for teachers. I actually have a contract right now with Kansas Law Enforcement Training Center. I'm teaching them about trauma and ACEs and the studies that were done. just so that they can better help understand people that they might encounter out in the field and figure out why people react the way that they react and how they can respond to, and also how like police officers can take care of themselves so they don't get into some high risk situation.
Right.
And so the podcast you heard is the Resilience Team podcast. So that's
Okay.
where myself and my four other teammates, we interview other
Is that everybody
experts.
that's in the ESDEC building with you?
That's not everybody. That's just my
Okay.
team.
Gotcha.
So we interview other experts in the field that are doing amazing things.
Okay.
Mhm.
So the way I took it is that because you said your team, I think when I asked you to be
Mhm.
on, you said my team has a podcast. I thought that that was actually your. I was like, what? I had no idea that you had a podcast,
Oh
and
yeah.
that's where I thought it was. But what started that part? Was that your idea? Or was that like a team thing?
So that podcast has been going on since before I got there.
Because they have seasons, right?
Yeah, they do.
Is
Mhm.
that just throughout the school season, or is that like
It's year round. I think they try and record a podcast at least once a month,
okay?
sometimes
I
more
just
than that.
wasn't sure. Is the whole season thing? I did never understood the podcast seasons
Yeah.
of TV shows. Like this one,
Mhm.
I've only had only because I focused most of my time with Josh and I's Josh Jordan and I podcast because that
Yeah.
one, I mean, it's more fun for them. That was the whole idea about this one is that I
Mhm.
wanted it to be with Jordan and Josh or just Jordan or whatever. So I just started this one because I mean, they still don't have the greatest amount of time.
Sure.
But what, like, how does that work into your guys' like education plan? Do you guys use that as an education anything?
It's more of for the people that we serve to go back and listen. Like, say we've got a teacher who's really struggling with de-escalation, like de-escalating her students. We can be like, hey, hop on the Resilience Team podcast and go find the podcast about de-escalation. You're gonna hear some great
Right.
tips in there. Try
So it's a
those.
resource,
Yeah, it's a
basically.
resource for
Okay.
people, or just hearing the latest research that's out there.
Right. So I don't know if you can talk specifics about this,
Mhm.
but in that episode, you talked about the kid that came to you that slept the night on a park bench,
Yeah.
right? Now, what is your obligation as a teacher being in that type of setting? Now, at high school, I don't know what that still would be. I knew that probably law enforcement got involved after that, but like, what's your obligation as a teacher when you hear something like that? Other after you, as you said, taking care of the human, right?
Yeah, yeah. So the story that Bobby's referencing there is, we do a lot of social emotional learning in our learning center, and so we start off in what we call circle, and we do what's called a check-in, where everybody goes around the room and shares whether they're mad, sad, glad, or afraid, and what is that about? Because we have found that when you ask people, "How are you?" everybody says, "What?" Fine, I'm good, whatever. But that's not true.
Is
We
that
all
limited to just that though?
yeah,
Like,
those are the primary emotions. And so we know that that's not true. Everybody has something going on in the back of their mind. And so when we can be open and vulnerable and share those things, it helps us understand where people are coming from that day. And so, you know, like today, I had a student who kind of blew up at everybody. She'd kind of had enough of the horse shit for the day, and we were like, "Whoa, what's going
is that the
on?"
age group of high school or
Yeah, yeah. And we're like, "What's going on?" And she's like, "My teeth just really hurt today. She needs some dental work done, you know?"
mhm.
And so so she was hurting. So unfortunately she had come later in the day, so she wasn't there when we did check in. But if she would have been, she would have been able to be like, "Guys, my teeth really hurt. I had a lot of afraid because my teeth hurt. I don't know when I'm going to get to the dentist, so I'm in a lot of pain. Please don't mess with me today." And everybody else will respect and honor that boundary because she said it. But without doing those check-ins, you don't know how people are really feeling, and you
Is
get
this just a
exposed.
daily routine that you
Yeah,
go through every day just to allow them to open up?
yeah. We
Okay.
do it every morning, and
So it's a start
everybody does it, including myself and my para. We open it up. We start with our own vulnerability. We all have cried. We have all laughed. We've all raged in that circle, and it just really opens up that vulnerability. And so, like the story that you heard, the student came in and said, "Hey, I'm sad and afraid." I said, "Okay, what's that about?" He said, "Well, mom kicked me out last night and I slept on a park bench." I'm like, okay, so that tells me as an educator, I'm not worried about classwork that day. I need to take care of this human being. Okay. And so then, we got him some food, let him take a nap, made sure he had some water, and then we moved on with our day. And we didn't push the issue of school.
So you
But without knowing that, as a teacher, I'm
right.
trained to
And if he's not willing to share it too, that's
Right, right, and no one ever has to share, but once you kind of create that safe space for them, every single person shares something that's going on in their life.
so you're not obligated to, like, call the parents to find out if it's true or to
We
find out if
do. I mean, we're not obligated, but I always do just because I always know there's another side to the story,
right.
right? And so there was obviously another side to that
So have
story.
you had to get, like, child services involved
Mhm.
being where you're at?
Yes.
Okay. And that's really what I wanted to get to because, like, you talked about taking care of the human, but you didn't really elaborate, like, what happened afterwards, and that's what I was
Yeah.
curious about.
Mhm.
So off of that, so, like, if you have, like you said that she snapped at everybody, what if you have somebody that's uncontrollable? Like, what de-escalation skills are you going to focus on?
So I'm really lucky because of the way that our center is set up and the type of safety that we create. I have never had an explosion. I have never had a behavior issue.
Well, that
We've
could be
never
good,
had it.
and that could be that's awesome,
Mhm.
and it could also be bad if you haven't that way because you don't
Mhm.
know exactly how you would respond, so,
Mhm.
uh,
Well, I've dealt with de-escalation issues before in the previous school that I worked at, and it doesn't frighten me.
so, like, you've never had any intense type of,
Yeah,
like,
and
thing
it's
happen,
yeah, and that's
but you
because
have at
we've
Holocaust or but for illegal things happening on okay,
yes, yes. I mean, we obviously, if a student brings drugs or alcohol into our center, like we can't allow that. We have to set that boundary.
right. So, well, like, if I like, say, working at the prison, like, there's obviously so many different behaviors, but it's also all
Mhm.
one gender, so that's really gonna
Mhm.
add to the everything that could be going on. So, like, you as an education provider, and then also you as somebody who does the check-ins and stuff, what are you gonna like, what is your first response to, like, somebody who's threatening somebody in the car, like, the room or
Mm.
you or even staff members?
Yeah,
What is it
so
you do?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so say I've got 2 boys that are kinda picking at each other and one of them goes, "Quit or I'm gonna kick your ass." I'm gonna step over and be like, "Hey, what's happening?" And I'm gonna pull both of them into a separate space where it's not in front of everybody, so then it's privacy and dignity, and then also then no one needs to peacock for anybody because it is
Right.
you and you guys have the problems, like, let's talk this out, let's figure it out. We call it a restorative circle. So it's where we come together and we just talk about what's going on. Like, okay, like man up, own it. What are you doing? How are you involved? What is like take accountability for what you did. You take accountability for what you did. You share where you messed up, you share where you messed up and how it made you feel, how it made you feel. And we just keep doing the circle until we can kind of come up with a plan of
So
like
you had no fights in there.
none.
See,
And
that's
I've taught there
is
for
that
2
bizarre to
years.
you at all?
No,
It's not bizarre
no.
because, like, how many
It,
fights did you see when you were in high school?
oh, so many.
Now is that do
I
you
had
think
fights
that's
in high school.
because, like, the whole peacock thing, do you think that's what it was? Or
I think it's some
because
of
most of them
that.
happen in, like, the chow hall or the
Y-
chow hall, the cafeteria.
Cafeteria.
Cafeteria none of them really happen in class that I noticed anyway.
I saw one spill in from the hallway into a class. It was in Lisa Bond's class.
Yeah.
Like came right into the right there in A hall.
So, I mean, it's only bizarre to me, just because you
Mhm.
have, like, the that age of people in that room,
Yeah,
so,
and
like
we have the kids that have been expelled from school, and they've
and
been expelled for a
how
reason.
many students are in there at a time? Like, when, like, the kids shared about the park bench thing, how many kids are in that area?
8. Like right now I have
Okay.
8
So that's not bad.
teenagers. It's not bad. No,
So that probably
no.
helps with the whole, like, anger
It
if there's
does.
any anger
Well,
behind
and also
anything.
I'm always monitoring and watching, and I can tell by the way someone clicks their pin if they're getting irritated
Right.
because I'm watching their body language. Right, so I can glance at someone and know what mood they're in, and I can go, "Huh, something has changed," because they were happy earlier, and now they're not, and I'm noticing just
Are there
differences.
weird relationships in that class? Like, do you ever see, like, people dating or anything like that?
Yeah, we did have, a guy and a girl dating,
Was
last
that
year.
weird?
It was weird because we have to be like, "No, y'all can't sit beside each other on the couch, like,
Right.
separate,"
'Cause in
but
high school, it was what was that, PDA or something?
PDA? Yeah.
Like, you don't probably call it that no more, but
No, no, but we're just like, separate."
so in that episode, you also I don't know if you feel comfortable sharing, like,
Mhm.
what like, the only reason I was interested because I didn't know what part of your life you were talking about or referring
Mm.
to. Like, what did you mean when you said that mantras saved your life? Like,
Yeah.
what was the, I guess, mindset? Where were you at in life? Where were you in college? Whatever.
Yeah, okay, so that was when I was in the middle of a divorce.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. So
And
just in a
that's
really so went to a really, really dark place.
How did you learn about mantras? Like, what
My
did that do?
yeah, my therapist. Yeah, so, like, she kinda introduced me to it and taught me how to write a mantra for myself in the areas that I was lacking, and I just strongly believe in it because I literally felt the shift in my brain go from extreme depression to of not wanting to live to finding joy again in life.
I mean, I wish I could say that have related because I've
Yeah.
never felt like I don't know if that's just a rare thing, but I've never felt like I don't think I could ever say that I've ever been depressed. Now,
Mhm.
sad, yeah,
Sure.
I've been sad. I lost my
Mhm.
mom. I've been sad. I've lost friends. I've
Mhm.
lost toys as a kid. Like
Yeah.
I've been sad. Like I can't
Mhm.
say that the depression thing has ever like came across my mindset only
Mhm.
because like when I see actual depression, like because I worked in I left the prison like
Mhm.
in 2011, and then I went to the emergency psychiatric assessment
Right.
center in Wichita. So you see depression, but most of the
Mhm.
time it's like either chemically induced, like alcohol or
Mhm.
drugs or whatever. But like real depression, like I don't know how that would actually go for someone who's never actually like experienced it.
Mhm.
So, but seeing it, like
Mhm.
the person isn't actually there; it's just a body. Like that's what I've noticed.
Yeah.
So, but I never noticed that with you, so that's why I was curious about what you meant by mantra save your life.
Yeah. I was really good at hiding my depression.
I don't. I think you were out. I think you were outside your divorce when you moved back, right? Or were you still going
I
through
was
it?
we were here. Yeah,
Okay.
we had moved back here, because he got hired here with the fire department, and
Okay.
then
I never actually met him, so
yeah, you're not
but
missing out
just
on
go from
anything.
there. But
Yeah.
anyway, but yeah, I was just curious because I
Yeah.
mean, I really never like. Is depression a big thing in your family, or
It
is
is,
that?
yeah, and, my dad actually lost a brother to suicide.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, depression's a weird thing, and I know everybody experiences it differently, but I think for me, I just I couldn't feel or find joy in anything, and
Right.
that's when I knew I wasn't okay.
Now, is that like the same feeling of like? Is that what got you into doing yoga too? I'm assuming.
Mhm.
Okay, but
Yeah.
that's where you started doing yogas from your.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, and if I
'Cause I knew
kinda
you were doing it, like, in high school too, weren't you?
yeah.
Because your dad had told I think you told the story or your dad told the
Mhm.
story about pressure points and,
Yeah.
like, how he I don't know if you're comfortable with me
Yeah,
sharing,
you're
but
okay.
he pinched your Achilles tendon
Oh,
and
yeah.
made you start your period.
Yes, yeah,
That
yeah,
was bizarre,
that's
and I was like,
reflexology
"Wait,
and
what?"
stuff. Yeah, it's crazy
I just
stuff.
remember that story oddly enough. I don't know
Yeah,
why, but
because it was
I think it's
weird.
probably because your dad told me, and I was like, "Why? What?"
Yeah, yeah, reflexology and all of those pressure point work.
So is your dad into all this stuff too? Like, is
Mhm.
he? Because wasn't he also a referee's referee, like, at some point in time or
Um,
something like that?
so he was a stroke and turn judge for swimming. Yeah.
Okay. I thought he was also, like, for high school sports, like, he would officiate the officials almost.
Mm.
Okay,
No.
I don't know where I got that from.
Well, I know he was training stroke and turn judges for swimming. Eventually, he got to be
Okay.
like head judge or something in swimming, but
I remember him bringing up referee, but I wasn't sure if it was him that brought up the whole, like,
mm,
officiating the officials or
yeah,
so, I was just
yeah,
curious.
yeah. Curiosity's good.
Is there anything else that you wanna, like, really, like, highlight or
Oh
anything
man.
except for the opening job that you have that you said
Oh
that
yeah,
I
I'm
won't take?
hiring a para. Someone can be my para.
Have you ever tried primal jerky?
I have not.
Would you like to try some?
Yes. What is it?
Well, Primal is a locally owned beef jerky company, and
Okay.
they actually sponsor the Chubby Buddies podcast with
Oh,
Josh and Jordan
nice.
and I. So we have
Cool.
bacon jalapeno. It's not hot.
Okay.
And then we have cracked black pepper. You can try both of them or whatever.
Ooh.
So what's
Yeah.
your opinion about them
Hand
when you
that
try
over.
them?
Let me see. Okay.
First time ever trying it. This is for you, Bo. Trying to get you some more customers.
Heck yeah. And I love jerky.
And if you use promo code Chubby when you go to their online store, you get 15% off.
Oh my god, this is so good.
It's the
Mm.
best jerky I've ever had. I like a drier jerky, and that's right up my alley. So
There are so many flavors like smacking me in the
they
face
have
right now.
six flavors. Now I don't know if you shop for jerky, but
Mm-hmm.
if you look at like gas stations, you don't see but
Oh.
maybe one or two different flavors from a certain company.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have
Right.
six flavors. They've got
Holy cow.
bacon jalapeno, cracked pepper,
Mm.
original teriyaki, sweet and spicy, and hot. And the
Yum.
hot isn't even hot. So
Oh.
it's
Well.
just like heat. It's more like
Mm.
mild.
I was trying to figure out what what the sweetness is. It's the molasses in here.
Yeah.
All right. Let's try bacon jalapeno.
We'll see which one her favorite is.
Yeah.
My favorite is the sweet and spicy and cracked pepper.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Oh my god, that's good too.
What do you think Josh's favorite is out of all those flavors I named?
This one.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Is it because you
It's
heard
the
him talk
bacon.
about it?
No, it's the bacon. He loves bacon, and his wife doesn't like bacon. So
Yeah, that's weird. I
I don't
found that
know
so weird.
who the
Well,
heck doesn't like
but I
bacon.
think she'll eat pork. Like she'll eat
Like ham?
no, she won't eat ham. I forgot what it is that she said that she will eat, but she said it has something to do with like PTSD from dissecting a pig in school.
Oh,
It's
okay,
she said
that's
it's
fair.
the formaldehyde.
That's fair.
She said every time she smells bacon, she smells the formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde.
So
That makes a
that is
lot of
why.
sense. Cool.
So what'd you think about
I
the
like it. Where do you find it?
well, you can go to their website. It's
Mm.
feedonprimal.com.
Okay, I'm gonna take a picture.
There you go.
Yeah,
Got
y'all
to know
get
the
this
customer, bro.
turkey.
And then you can use promo code Chubby and you'll save 15% off. They'll
Okay,
actually deliver it to your door if you're local.
let me put that in
And
the
then
notes.
you can also find it in Smith's Market. Almost, I
Ah,
think it's all liquor stores here.
promo code chubby.
Yep. And then
Oh,
some smoke shops I think have it, but liquor stores. So if you get wine, you can get. I think it tastes good with like a summer beer.
Yeah,
I
that
had it
would be
with
good.
Bush Light Apple. I don't know if you're a beer fan, but I don't think it
Mm-mm.
tastes very good with whiskey. I don't know. I haven't tried that. I mean, I've drank
Mhm.
whiskey and then ate that, but never paired them. So,
Yeah.
but did you have any
Mm.
questions for me that you were interested in about this or about what I've been up to?
Well,
Or
yeah. How many episodes have you recorded now?
well, since I started the Chubby Buddies, I took a break because I released that on my birthday week, right?
Okay.
So this one I think I had 3 or 4 episodes up. I even had my niece on, Rayleigh.
Mhm.
She was 10 at the time, so she's the only other female besides you that's been on.
Oh,
So
yay!
I think I had 4 at that time, and then by now I think you're number 9.
Nice.
So, but that's with just the Recess Ruckus podcast, and
Okay.
then Chubby Buddies is I think we're working on 24
Dang. Look
because
at you.
we weren't on a break at all, and then me and Josh did one alone, and then Jordan had some things come up with work, and then he went on a trip to Daytona. We were at the draft, and we went live
Mm.
on YouTube.
You went to the draft.
We did go to the draft.
Cool.
It was a little different. A lot of people. It was a lot like the fair,
Yeah.
but very, very close quarters.
Yeah. My
Like,
friend's husband was there too.
but I had no idea, really, like how much I appreciated commercials. Like,
Mm.
did you watch the draft on TV?
No, I
Or
didn't.
I don't know how much your husband's still into the
Oh yeah,
NFL,
a lot.
but like when you're watching it on TV, you're really just listening to people talk about players that are still in the draft or who was just picked, right? You
Mhm.
don't see that part of it. You see like this little sideshow that has like concerts going on,
Right.
women are pumping up the crowd, and that was so bizarre to me. Like I was
Huh.
like, "Man, I could really just deal with the commercials now." So I'd
Yeah.
never do it again. It was a cool
Oh,
experience. We
okay.
went for the first day and the third day.
Okay.
So yeah, it was fun.
Cool.
Not a big Kansas City like area. Like I've never
Mm.
been there very
Yeah.
often. I've only been there like probably 5 times.
And you were at
So
Union Station.
yeah, that was.
Mhm.
But I'm glad Josh and Heather just had to drive, and then I just helped pay for like parking.
Mhm.
I don't deal with especially nowhere I've ever been.
Yeah.
If I've never been there, then
Yeah.
I
It's
don't deal
horrifying.
with the traffic.
Yeah.
I get pissed off. I've got anger
Yeah.
issues in traffic, like hardcore. Like I won't harm nobody, and I won't drive my car
Mm.
into you. But
You're gonna be pissed.
you're gonna hear my voice with my windows up, and you're
Oh,
gonna be
man. I don't know
so.
that I've ever seen you mad.
Oh, I've been mad.
Mm.
I've been mad,
I'm not saying
but
I don't
but I
believe
don't
that. I'm
get
saying I
mad
don't
at
ever seen you
I don't get mad at like. I guess I get angry at driving, not mad. I think
mad.
mad's
Okay.
a different feeling
Okay.
and expression.
Sure.
Pissed off is the same as mad, I think, and angry is just upset, in my opinion. Like I'm upset with you, or
Mhm.
well, I'm disinterested at that point
Yeah.
if I'm upset. But if you made me mad and you've done something to where it's either harmed somebody that I care about, or if it's my safety, or what, that's what I'm
Mhm.
getting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
Then my words express their feelings. I
Yeah.
express my feelings.
Good.
I don't hit walls or nothing. No holes in these walls.
Yeah. No.
So not that bad of anger problem. But
Good.
I have been mad.
Okay. I don't think I've ever seen you mad. I've seen Josh mad. Seen Jordan mad.
What was Jordan mad about? Because he gets angry about like
It was a long time
little
ago. It
things.
was at Josh's house, and I
Oh,
think someone said something
oh, really?
or made
He
him.
normally doesn't get mad about that, but he does get mad about getting touched, like not touched, but like slapped on his head and his face. Like
Yeah, and maybe that's what it was.
blacks out.
I just can't remember what it was. It was something. It seemed like so minor, and then suddenly he was yelling.
Jordan was?
Yeah, Jordan was yelling.
Really? Jordan.
Jordan yelling. Yeah.
But Josh, what was he mad about? If you can
Oh,
remember.
shoot.
He got mad. He doesn't really express his anger as in like lashing out. He expresses
Mhm.
his anger with his actual emotions. So like
Yeah.
we have this thing, Josh is sensitive.
Mm,
Like
yes, yes.
Jordan was on and he said Josh is just like Josh is very charismatic when he's
Mhm.
happy for either you or me or
Yeah.
whatever. I can't be like that. Like I can't it's not that I can't be like that. I just find it to be like almost cheesy. Like I don't want it to come across as cheesy.
Mhm. It's not you.
What? What's not?
Like, for you to be charismatic in the way that Josh is charismatic.
Right, but I also don't
Mhm.
want it to like I don't want somebody to assume that I'm just like either like belittling
Oh,
them,
sure.
like saying, "Oh, I'm so proud of you," like even though I actually mean it, like it
Mhm.
just doesn't sound right coming out of my mouth.
Mhm.
Awesome, sweet, I'll walk off.
Yeah, you show it in different ways, and that's okay.
But Josh is definitely he'll write a book about how happy he is, and he's
Mhm.
sensitive.
Yeah.
So
He's very reflective.
yeah, he'll think about it and then express his feelings in a lot of words,
Mhm.
some that you may or may not know the definition of, but
Mhm. Oh, yep. Or
he
he'll
is.
write poetry,
So that's what you should change his name to on your phone is sensitive.
sensitive,
Yeah,
and
that's
not
his.
puddin' cup.
Yeah, I don't know the whole story behind that, so
Okay.
I would say yes
God, I
because
don't even know. Gosh,
sensitive
Josh,
is
Josh, help me out. How did we come up with the name puddin' cup for you?
I would say
I don't
sensitive
know.
is his
Mhm.
he is sensitive, but I think that's a good thing. I think Jordan has his trait, Josh has sensitive, and I have my trait. We just haven't figured out what Jordan and I's is, so
Yeah.
we'll
Hmm.
see. Maybe it'll come up one of these days.
Yeah. I'm gonna explore that sometime.
But you'll have to be on again.
Yeah,
I
I
think we
love
will,
that.
but we can get into more like other stories that you could probably remember since I didn't
Yeah.
ask you. I'd rather it be more natural, so I said, "Hey, what's a good story?"
Yeah, absolutely.
But
Man, having to think back.
is there anything you want to plug, like your podcast or
Yeah, if you're interested in any of the things that I've talked about, check out ESDAC Resilience Team podcast. It's on Spotify or any of the other ESDAC podcasts. We're on social media. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're
do
on.
you post?
I do. Yeah, I do. I post.
And you just actually I have it saved to read, but you
Mhm.
also wrote like a blog for ESDEC?
I did. Yeah, I wrote a mindfulness blog of just like three quick little mindfulness hitters. Like, if you ever had just a really bad brain day where you're like, "Where the hell is my phone?" and you're walking around and your phone's in your hand.
That's every morning at 6 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay. So like, there's a way to reset your brain
Mhm.
back to like what I call its factory settings. Like, so right now in this room, like find something that has a little bit of texture to
Has
it.
texture?
Yeah.
Oh, geez Louise. Here, maybe the sheath on this knife.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. So I want you to like study it, focus it, look at it.
Alright. Hands-on learning, and that's what this
Hands-on
is called.
learning. Here we go.
Alright.
What would it feel like if you licked that?
I licked it,
Mm,
rough.
yeah. But could you like kind of feel that on your tongue? Like if you looked at that and went, if I licked this,
No.
you can't picture what that would feel like?
No, I'm only feeling it because
Mm,
I mean, it looks like sandpaper, but it doesn't
yeah.
feel like sandpaper.
Right. So now imagine that on your tongue.
S Probably still not as rough because I can feel it.
Yeah. But you can
But
kind of.
if I wouldn't have touched it, if you would've
Mhm.
told me to look at it, and
What
then I
would it
would've
be like
said,
if you licked these suckers? You just licked over the top of that bouquet.
"Oh, very, very different." I don't know. She called it bouquet.
Yeah, it's a bouquet of suckers.
Probably I wouldn't say rough, I would say more bumpy.
Mhm. Yeah, but if you think about it, like your tongue can actually feel that.
Right.
Like right now, imagine licking the carpet.
Alright.
Cool, right? You can feel like the fuzziness on your tongue. You can feel the roughness, the
Even
soft.
afterwards, because my beard hair is all over this carpet.
Right. Weird, right?
Yeah.
So that's just like one little tip that can get your brain to go back online in the correct way you need it to function.
Oh, sweet. I still plan on reading it, so I just have it saved. Jamie's actually the one that saw it. She's a
Oh yeah,
Facebook,
cool.
stalker, as I call her.
Oh, I love it.
I just can't read. I can't sit there and look at, like, mainly
Mhm.
it's mainly people, like, talking about their opinions, like, yeah, like,
Ugh,
if I really wanted it, then I'd ask you.
yeah, yeah,
But I guess it's good for some people. But I think
yeah.
thank you for coming on. I think it's
Yes,
gonna be a good number 2 whenever you come on, because then you'll have, like, do you do summer school?
we don't know.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why your husband enjoys summer, maybe? That you're
Nah, we
home
both
more?
work summer jobs.
What's that?
Okay, so this
Sorry.
summer I am gonna go back and work for Horizons and do some psychosocial groups.
Mhm.
Uh,
For inpatient or outpatient?
inpatient, or
Okay,
no, sorry, outpatient.
okay.
Outpatient. Yep.
And he does
So he typically works for Boys and Girls Club in the summer, but he's
oh,
gonna
that's
take a
right.
break this year, and he's gonna do the summer cleaning crew that goes in and like cleans the schools and stuff, and like
Oh, wow.
they paint,
My
scrub down
brother did that.
surfaces.
He only lasted a summer.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, I ain't doing that again."
Yeah. He's kinda had a hard year with some pretty rough kids, and so he's just like,
Is he still going to school or is he done with
"No, yeah,
school?
he's done."
Okay. So he's found
Um,
his calling. So
yeah, yeah, and so he's kinda had
I'll
a
have to
rough
have him
year.
come on. I don't know how talkative he would be.
Yeah.
That's mic might be a little bit low.
Might have to talk sports.
Oh, we could talk sports for
Yeah,
sure.
you get him not yeah, you
I
get him
mean,
nonstop
I don't
talking
talk about
sports.
NBA. Like that's it. I think that's
Uh,
more his thing in K-State football.
mhm.
But NBA, I've lost my interest in that
Yeah.
since 2004ish
Oh,
probably. I
okay.
just can't
Not in it.
can't fathom that sport anymore.
Good. Okay. Well,
All
thanks
right.
for having me.
Yeah. Have to come on again.
Awesome.
We'll
Yeah.
do this again.